So I am back on the floor again, and today's rant is going to be all about Brave New World. The classic dystopian novel that is now getting a TV show adaptation on NBC's streaming service, which no one wanted, but it's here. And man, this thing misses the point so far. Like, granted, I haven't seen it, okay? And if someone else sees it and they come back and say, "Hey man, your points are off the mark here," then I will admit I was wrong. But based on the trailers, this is like Artemis Fowl levels of missing the point of the book and just going off and doing your own thing. So, Brave New World is often brought up in similar circles as 1984 because they're both classic dystopias, like I said, but they show radically different worlds. 1984 showed a world that was controlled by fear and pain, and Brave New World shows a world that's controlled by pleasure. And, it's just the people in charge are concerned with trying to make consumption go up and up and up, just grow the economy more and more like crazy with no real purpose to it. It's not there to make people's lives better or anything, it's just there to grow and grow. And but people are okay with that because they're just constantly distracted by games and entertainment, and they have sex all the time, and there's this drug called soma that they take, which just gets rid of all the bad feelings they have. And the main character of the story is a dude who lives outside the society for a long time. He lives in this basically American Indian reservation area where they don't have modern technology or anything, and I don't know, they just kind of live almost like the old world, except they are really poor and the place is really barren. In fact, that's why the government allows them to live that way, is because there's no resources or anything there that they even want. And so the main character John, he comes out, sees the world as it is, and he's like, this place sucks too, because he hated the Indian reservation. Everyone there hated him, and he didn't fit in at all. But basically, then he comes out to the rest of the world and says, "This shit sucks too. I'm just gonna go on my own. I'm gonna hang out on this island, and that's that." And that the ending isn't that important, but it's basically saying that yes, the world, it sucks right now, and all the systems are in place to keep themselves alive and growing more and more powerful. So one person can't change that. And the show, okay, for starters, it has John starting off in the real world, like in London. I don't know if it's specifically in London. They might have changed that, but it starts off. We'll say London, and he already is part of mainstream society. He already takes soma, and he already participates in like orgies and shit. And maybe this show could be fine on its own, don't get me wrong, but it's just missing the point by doing that because he's kind of an outside observer. And you can tell just from the trailer that he's trying to change things and that he's going to try and fight to change it. And so you just know there's going to be some sort of power struggle or rebellion, and it'll probably end, well, maybe not happily, but it'll probably end with things going back to kind of the way they are in the world today. Like, and I can almost guarantee you that there's going to be some sort of scene where John like finds an old book or something from the old world, and he's like, "Wow, this is how people used to live. This is better. This is perfect." And it's not really going to acknowledge any of the bad things about the world today. It's just going to be like, "Yes, this is how perfect things were at the time. We should never touch that. Let's go back to that, and then things are great." And I don't know, it just plays into that American idea that history ended with the Cold War. Like, yep, this is the pinnacle. Everything after this is just gonna be like growing technology, but other than that, everything's gonna stay the same. No, there's not gonna be any major status quo changes because we're all enlightened. We're all enlightened democracies, and that will never fall down. We can never become dictatorships. We can never become awful dystopias. Like, nope, this is the end. And I don't think I need to explain how that's not the case. Things always change, and people who think themselves invincible are, well, considerably less invincible than they think they are. Um, and even setting that aside, the fact that there's going to be some sort of like pushback against the status quo is it's just laughable. The whole point is that people didn't want to change the status quo. John was the weirdo, and he thought, yeah, this is stupid and this is terrible, but he he was the odd one out. Most people were happy with the way things were, which is, I mean, that's accurate. Most dictatorships are at least somewhat popular. You know, that if they wouldn't really be able to exist if everyone hated them. That's just not how it works. But the fact that there's going to be some sort of pushback against it misses the point, because it's missing how people are so anesthetized that they just don't care, and it's missing that the government is too powerful to actually stand up against in any real way. That'd be like if 1984 ended with people rebelling against the government. Like it would just kind of miss the point. Like it's depressing, sure, but that's how it often is. One person can't make that big of a difference. And so what I'm getting at with all this is that with Brave New World and with 1984 to probably an even bigger extent, people just kind of miss the point. It's not showing a whole different world or anything. It's showing a world where some aspects of our current world, or the world that the authors were in, and it takes one aspect from that and just takes it to an extreme level. Like with George Orwell 1984, it was authoritarianism. Like that was based on a lot of stuff that he was seeing in the world during his lifetime. Like doublethink was that was a thing that was around in not only oh shit, what was it? Not only the Soviet Union, but also in a bunch of fascist countries. And so he just pointed that out and said, "Hey guys, this is something that happens," and that gave people a bigger idea of it. Whereas Aldous Huxley saw that there's a lot of people who just are willing to not care about what's going on around them if they're provided for and they have some sort of entertainment. And I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. That's like human nature. But he was basically warning us, hey, keep it in check. And the show is just completely missing the point of that. So every time I see ads for the trailers, which I keep freaking getting on YouTube, it just really annoys me. And I think that's about it for this rant. So I don't know. I'll see you for another one on the floor sometime later. Bye.